Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Mandalorian series review episode or / chapter 6. I am the number one Kylo Ren fanboy, Travis Snell.
I am the Mark Casterville.
I am the friendly neighborhood caster, Kirklin.
I'm the prisoner, Taylor Field.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've not tuned the series, go back and check out all the other 5 episodes we've done. If you're going to check out this one and you haven't, great, go do that. We have a Last Jedi commentary track. That's out. We got the Rise of Skywalker predictions. That's out. We did a newscast for Black Widow and Wonder Woman. That's out. Next week is a big one. Next week we have, and Taylor just did a Jumanji review. Check that out. I didn't.
Did you end up talking about
COD and
No,
I wanted
DLC?
to watch Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It was like 2 a.m.
I could tell when I saw the reviews 27 minutes. I'm like, he didn't talk about no COD. Or
Oh,
anything.
no.
Do you guys appreciate I had the heat ready before you guys got on here?
It's very
I
nice.
am warm, but I also did wear a bigger sweater and big socks today,
Okay.
just in case.
If we get
Big
But
too
it is
hot-
nice in here.
Yeah.
I'm quite content with
Yeah.
the temperature.
Yeah, the big sucks,
Next
too.
week is huge because, and then in a few days we're going to be dropping, I can't remember what episode it is. I think it's the second episode of Season 4 Clone Wars Retrospective. That's back. So you're going to get 2 more this month, and then next month you're going to get about 6, and then the new shows here. So Clone Wars Retro is at the Yin Yang. We're on Season 4 if you
The
want to
Yin
jump
Yang,
on.
did you say?
The Yin Yang. It's
Okay.
coming out
I
the
thought you
Yin
said
Yang.
Yin Yang.
It's coming out of the hole.
Out
We
the
have
Yin
so much
Yang.
Clone
I'm not
Wars
sure
to
what that
watch
is.
and record. And then next week is huge because next Wednesday we'll still be doing it is Mandalorian. So if you guys don't remember, next Wednesday is that. So we'll be doing the same thing as usual. We'll come here and talk about it. Then Friday, either late Friday night or Saturday morning, our Rise of Skywalker spoilers review and discussion will be dropping. That's going to be a good one. Check out our predictions cast. But yeah, we're less than a week away from
It's kind of
seeing
crazy.
That's
episode
spicy.
9.
I still have to watch half of episode. Oh man, I have so many. I have to watch like 3 episodes
Yeah.
still. So
Are you gonna watch? Are you gonna watch Force Awakens?
I'm gonna try, but I gotta watch the Home Alone movies this weekend. I don't know if I'll have time. I'm gonna try my best though.
I would say just watch Force Awakens. You know, JJ. It's his sequel.
Well, I gotta
gonna
finish
Last
Return of the
Jedi.
Jedi. You know.
Yeah.
So
So we got lots of stuff. So be there. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review everything. If you like what we do in this episode or anything else, please give us a nice written 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That helps out big time. But yeah, Skywalker, you want to be here for that because it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a juicy one. I think there's gonna be lots of discussion going on for that. I think.
all the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
We've done 4 of them now in the GV.
What do you
timeline.
mean? We did Force Awakens. We did Rogue One. We did Last Jedi. That's
Oh,
all
I thought there
can
was 4.
remember.
I don't know. I guess I'm forgetting.
The commentary tracks you're probably
Right, the commentary
Yeah.
tracks, yeah. So
They're
and
trying
those
to
are
fucking-
always good
They're
fun.
trying to draw me out of my burrow. I'm not fucking biting today, though.
Your
Oh,
burrow.
you should have saw him before. Oh, I don't care about Xbox. It's fine.
He
It's
lives in a
fine.
burrow.
I love bricks.
Xbox Series X.
We're gonna do a review right now, just quickly, just to give our thoughts, and then we'll let you know in spoilers. I'm gonna say 3, 2, 1, and I guess Taylor's gonna because Dylan won't do it.
I'm not doing it.
He's not doing it. So,
Sacrilegious.
Kirkland, start us off. I want to get your thoughts. What do you think about
Oh.
episode 6, chapter 6, The Prisoner? 2 more
Alrighty.
away to the finale.
So this one was interesting. It's the longest episode yet, right?
Yeah.
43 minutes. And last week I was a little disappointed, but overall I was pretty happy with this episode. I just going into the whole series, I was expecting kind of a show more like this, where it's just an ensemble of like hooligans, of just people from I don't know all walks of life.
Mhm.
just like I don't know, they pretty much bad guys.
This
but they work
episode
together.
is essentially the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Of Mandalorian.
That's very
verse.
fair. I would definitely give that one. Overall, though, just still really happy with the cinematography and the score. It's just so consistent throughout, even though there are some weaker episodes. Some might argue, I don't know, more
Someone might
episodes
argue.
than not.
Yeah.
But overall, I'd say that the score and the cinematography is just top notch all time around. And I like the characters that they introduced for the most part. There were some characters I found were a little annoying. I don't know. Do I talk about the characters? That's
I think
spoiler.
you can. I think it's fine.
Yeah,
you know.
there's one
Just don't know
character who is I don't even remember what his name was. It's just Bill Burr.
yeah.
Bill Burr. I like him as a comedian, so I was fine with him for the most part. But it just took me as Bill Burr, not like
Yeah,
a
stuck
Star Wars
out a bit,
character.
right?
Yeah, definitely. Travis offcast mentioned just like the Boston accent. It's a little weird to hear in like a Star Wars movie.
I'm walking.
Or Star Wars universe. And then the Twi'lek, I'll say her name probably.
Wow.
What?
Is that this is a negative for you?
Not a fan of the Twi'lek.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
not really.
The sex symbol of the Star Wars universe.
Not that
Absolutely.
one. She's like an old.
She's not old.
She reminded
boomer
me
Twi'lek.
of
She's in Game of Thrones and
she-
she's in Harry Potter.
She reminded me of the chick from Pulp Fiction in the cafe or whatever. The
Honey Bunny.
Honey Bunny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she totally reminded me of
Yeah.
her big
I
time.
can smell that. Yeah.
You can smell that. Yeah. So I don't know. Now that you mentioned Suicide Squad, it's definitely like 100% that. I didn't think of that like in the moment, but I don't know. Overall, I thought it was a step up from last week's episode. Pacing wise, I thought it was good, and yeah, I didn't have too many issues with it. I'll go into more like non-spoilers.
Of course.
Yeah.
You mean in spoilers?
Thank you. You're saving me today.
I can pick it up from there. I did not really like this episode, and it's not that I've really have problems with it. I guess I just found it a bit boring. I think, the more the show's gone on, it's really just like the Mandalorian. He's a very simple, pretty much just like a one-note kind of character. Like sometimes they go into his backstory, but not really a whole lot for considering we've had like probably 4.5 hours with this character at this point, roughly.
Yeah. 6 episodes at least.
Yeah, so quite a few episodes. I feel like we haven't really got too much depth. There was kind of one episode, the Bryce Dallas Howard episode. That one, I think, delved most into his character, and you get like maybe some hints of it here, but not really. I guess it's just all about, right? It's like he's that same simple character every episode. So what's gonna make it interesting is either the location you're in or just the characters in that given episode. Location isn't really anything too special here. It's
the same
pretty like
hallway,
generic
shot 5
Star
different
Wars
angles.
stuff, which is fine. But I just didn't really care much for the characters. The story, I mean, it's pretty simple like all the other episodes, I guess. But yeah, I didn't really latch on to any of these characters. And while each episode maybe has like 1 or 2 characters that I would be interested, like, oh, they should have gone further with this. I'd like to see what else they would do, or I hope this character comes back later in the season or next season or something. Can't say I'd want that for any of the characters around this time. So, and I mean, maybe this is a spoiler. There's not really much Baby Yoda in this episode either. The avocado, he's pretty much just sleeping the whole time. So, unfortunately, like, I don't think there's any new good memes, that come from this episode.
No,
Any good gifs?
I'd argue.
Sexual ones of just like the Twi'lek does some stuff with her tongue, but that's about it.
I just mean with avocado, because every episode I feel like is pumping out some fresh gifs.
There's one.
Is there? Okay.
I'm not gonna say iconic because the episode has been out less than 24 hours. So
I think I know the moment you're talking. That's what I'm saying. I felt like this one had the least of it, but you can disprove that later in the spoiler section. I'd like to know. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. It's definitely better than last week's episode, which was like prequel level cringe. But this is more just kind of on par for me with episodes. I
1, 3.
Yeah, 1, 3, and 4. I don't know why I still like 2 the best, but
it just hits you.
it just hit me where it hurts.
Yeah, I'll go because I think we all know Taylor's gonna be pretty positive on anything.
last week I gave it
4 out of 5. Whoa.
You gave it a negative?
And you had some weird things. Remember, you said it was 4 out of 5, but you still liked it better than some 5 out of 5 episodes. So that logic, don't give me the, it was a lower episode.
Crazy stuff.
So
man.
for me, I've watched this episode twice because I feel really uneasy. I've had quite
That's like a full movie.
Yeah, I know. It was
Wow.
It was all right. I was going to say it was great. But I've had just a rocky road with this show just because I'm still just trying to find what I'm expecting from the show. I thought the pilot kind of put forward that it was going to be a story-driven, we're going on this adventure. Episode 2 kind of put out kind of something like this where it was just kind of a single solo monster of the week. It's just him versus the Jawas, right? And then 3 was a bunch of story. And then the last 2 episodes were maybe some sprinkling of Mandalorian stuff, but it was really, in my opinion, not so much 4, but last week, very filler. And they're close to filler, even 4 of just, it's him trying to deal with a solution, right? But it has nothing to do with the main story, and he's not really evolving as a character. And now this is the 3rd week we've gotten that, and it's just, for me now, as far as what I wanted, the show is definitely not what I wanted. So if I were to rate the episodes on that sort of scale, they wouldn't be that great. For what it is, I think it was a fun, solid episode. It was like a good adventure. I did like most of the characters, to be honest, but now my expectation for the show is just a lot lower. I'm just expecting kind of some people have thrown this out here, like a cartoon sort of thing, and it's just a little adventure where I thought it was going to be much more story-based and character-based. And that's my fault because they didn't ever say, we're making a full-on, but it's just, especially when it was 8 episodes, big budget. It's just when you compare it to some of the TV shows nowadays, and this is the main thing. If it wasn't Star Wars, I don't think I'd be watching it. And I think that's one of the worst things, that I can't recommend this to anybody that's not a Star Wars fan. I don't think this is must see. I think Star Wars is such a big franchise that it should be that. I think this is just a cartoon, but it is done in live action. So now I think I'll like the episodes a bit more going forward, just thinking, oh, this is just an adventure show with some story put in. But again, this is the third week with not really much character, no story, and we only got 2 episodes left, and I just think that, I don't know. This is something that I hope this is this show and not all the Disney Plus shows. Because if all the Disney Plus shows are just like Loki on Adventure, and that's a good thing. I trust Kevin Feige, so I don't think Feige's going to do that. Even the way they've said, like, Scarlet Witch is going to tie into Doctor Strange. Marvel, I'm not so worried. It's more the Star Wars stuff of, like, we got Cassian coming up, and the Obi-Wan is one that really worries me. Because Obi-Wan,
when is Cassian supposed to come out?
They're both rumored 2021. That's kind of the rumor for Obi-Wan and Cassian.
Really?
They're filming next year, so yeah, it's still a ways off. So
and Mandalorian season 2, is that supposed to be next year?
I think it is next year. They're
2020?
filming right now, so that would make
makes
sense.
sense.
So we'll get that. So I just hope that if this is just one show, maybe it won't be exactly for me and what I want. But if it's just one show, that's fine. But if all the Star Wars shows are like this, I don't want just 6 episodes of Obi-Wan, just like his fun times on Tatooine while he was waiting for Luke to grow up. I want. And that's why I was talking to Taylor today, because he, I think quite enjoys this episode. It all depends what you want Star Wars as far as your fandom. For me, I fell in love with the characters and the story of, boy looks in the sun and sees adventure out here, right? I don't get really much of that from this. It's just a fun bounty hunter show, that's fine, but it's nothing that, like, when we do best of lists in the end of the decade or the year, I don't think it would be on here as far as something I really need to see, unless the next 2 episodes finish really strong. But I just don't think they will, because I think there's a lot of ground to cover for stuff I want to know, and I don't think they can do that in 2 episodes. So my prediction is the finale, they're going to end on some big cliffhanger, like a Vader in Rogue One or a Darth Maul. They're going to give us something so everyone's like, oh my God, can you believe? Like, I can't wait for season 2. But the season overall has been just kind of fine for me now, looking back on it, because 3 episodes in a row kind of like this, not a fan. But this episode, it was a fun, solid time, but I want more. But as an episode, it was good.
Well said. I like that you comment on it feeling like a cartoon. I didn't really think about that, but I think it was a good way to put it.
Well, people have shown out like Clone Wars, but also like Spider-Y.
You could watch it out of order, really, and it wouldn't matter.
No,
like
not
even the
at all.
story stuff, right? Like you mentioned, episode 3 had more of that. That could have been this episode.
Yeah, and I hate to say, and that's saying that maybe if they had said that this was just a pure bounty hunter show, and they did, but I mean like from the beginning, but adding Baby Yoda at the beginning made me think that we were going to get a lot of story. But really, these last 3 episodes, for the most part, you could lift the Baby Yoda storyline out of it, and this could have just been he has a bounty on Tatooine.
Right.
He has a bounty on this.
Yeah,
that's the problem with the story. It's not that in depth, so you could remove things, and it's just the same episode. And
I guess that's the thing, right? Like the first episode ended in a cliffhanger, but then there isn't really like those gripping story aspects from every episode since. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, I was definitely getting vibes of similar to like a Clone Wars, where like each episode you get in and it's just an adventure, and then at the end of the episode he's just off that like adventure onto the next one, right? It's not just continuation.
Refuel, he's off to go.
And I am hoping it kicks in that other thing, because you check out the Spider-Man retrospective and even Clone Wars, but the cartoons can still have these big arcs and big moments, and I'm hoping for that eventually, but I haven't got that from this yet at all. So that's where I hope it evolves. And it's not, lots of people have been like, oh, this is just a setup season. I don't want a fucking setup season. That's not, to me, proper TV of like, oh, wait until season 2. It's like, no, then you just not waste it. I'm not gonna say it's a waste, but a whole 8 episodes of setup, that's not a way to
like
do
when people
things.
are like, oh, it gets really good in like season 3. I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's a lot of investment.
But of course we'll be here because it's podcast. We talk about it as Star Wars. And there is some fun stuff. I got to see a Twilight in live action, and they're just spicy as can be, and I liked this one. I like her. She's from Harry Potter. She plays Tonks, and she's in Game of Thrones as well. So
Tonks.
yeah, I liked the Twilight.
That's the one with
action.
the revolving hair colors, right?
I think so. She's married to
Lupin.
and they both get fucking murdered in Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Shit, man. Spoilers. We're doing that
Harry
retro
Potter
next
retro
year.
next year.
Mr. Field.
Ooh. Yeah, for me, this...
You're really getting cuddled up in your chair, huh?
Yeah, the heat's just the right temperature, you know? I don't feel any sweat on my
You're
brow.
like, the ground is too hot. I can't touch it.
Like floor is lava. The episode overall, I was very happy to see that it was the longest one yet. And going into it, I just felt like, okay, it had me on edge more than any of the other past episodes so far.
Did you say Galaxy's Edge?
Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah.
Did I say that?
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. I won't interrupt.
These two
anyone.
over here.
But yeah, it. Oh, I see what you did now.
Oh my god.
Just thinking it over my head.
It's Friday.
It's just TGIF. I had the hair standing up on my neck, and it was
When you
just
saw the
Madison
Twilight?
doing to you during this episode.
a lot. She actually stayed awake with me this time to watch it.
wow.
Oh.
Usually she stays awake till midnight to try and watch it, and then it loads up like, okay, ready. She's like, I'm going to bed. I'm too tired. Like, oh, fine. Go ahead. Anyway, she stayed awake this time, so it was great. And
Throwing shade.
it just throughout the whole experience of watching this, I felt like, okay, I wasn't sure for the first time in this series how it would end. I thought that it felt like an impending doom, and it felt like things could take a turn for the worst here. And I liked that. It made me feel uncomfortable as I was watching it in a good way, where that I believe the story that's unfolding in front of me, and the consequences are very real at this point in time. And it didn't have that kind of happy, kind of fun aesthetic that the side missions have been in the other episodes, except for that brief moment where we thought that the avocado was going to get shot. They basically took that feeling for me and amplified it over this whole episode for the most part, and I really liked that, because to me that was a different aesthetic and a different change of pace. And I felt like them taking these other characters and throwing them in and just making them feel like really sly and, like untrustworthy and just doing their own thing. Like I couldn't get a read on them as characters, and maybe that's why people for the most part don't really like them, because they couldn't really find something that they could enjoy with the character, relate to the character or anything like that. I found like I couldn't relate or connect with them at all, and not in a bad way. For me, it was just that I couldn't get a read on them, that they made me feel uncomfortable, and I think that's a good thing for who they were supposed to portray and what they were supposed to deliver with.
Definitely quite sketchy.
Yeah, and I like that. I love that, there was the Twi'lek in here. That she was super cool to see, and these other characters too that they just threw in there. I can't remember the other guy. I won't get into it for spoilers' sake, but the other crew member with the horns.
I think his name was Burr.
Hellboy.
Burr,
It's
yeah.
funny because I kept
Hellboy.
thinking of Bill Burr and then another character named Burr.
Yeah.
Played by a classic Star Wars voice actor.
Can we
Is he?
can we say that? outside
Sure,
of
it's
spoilers?
Clancy Brown, the guy
Yeah,
who does
Savage
Savage
Opress.
Press. He does Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
He does
Really?
Surtur and
He's in
Thor.
Detroit.
Yeah, he is.
He's in
yeah.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, he didn't make it in
Wow.
my Detroit story.
He was the best in mine. So there you go. There's Detroit in a nutshell for you.
But overall, I think this episode, just the adventure and the experience that we got to go along with and have unfold, to me, I think that this is probably my favorite episode so far. I just love how the story went, and I loved how the adventure unfolded, and we got to see the Mandalorian in action, where he felt completely capable of everything he had. I felt like even though things were out of his control, he was still maintaining control of the situation. And even though I was worried for how this was going to turn out for him, I was rooting for him, and I felt very excited and happy seeing the results of his progression throughout this. And again, learning more about his time and a little bit more about his history again. Even though it was a brief amount, I still...
It was 2 lines, yeah.
Well, I still enjoy knowing, like, okay, obviously he's not just... Like, bounty hunting, obviously not a spoiler, hasn't been the only thing for him in this life. Being very vague about it, there are... He comes from probably, like, a little bit more of, like, a harder, roughed around, like, tough kind of upbringing that he's had to endure, and... he got in with the wrong people.
Didn't we already know that
obviously.
though? You're not saying that was just this episode, right?
No, I'm saying like it's hard to be really vague about it, because like he wasn't only just a bounty hunter. Obviously, like as we come to learn in this
I see
episode.
what you're saying. I think for my spoilers for past episodes, there's always the assumption that he was a kid and then he became a Mandalorian, and it seems like they're insinuating there's something in that middle chunk
Yeah.
that maybe he didn't directly become a Mandalorian.
I see.
Or
No,
I don't
just like
know.
he didn't jump right into the bounty hunting
Yeah,
train.
true,
Like
true.
there's a big chunk of his life, obviously, that is very dark. That it seemed like they hinted at. Okay, he enjoyed certain things, and
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that's with that Twi'lek.
But yeah, that's where I'll cap it off. I was very happy with the episode.
Cap it off.
Yeah, your favorite episode, eh?
Oh yeah,
Gucci.
The Rogue One of Mandalorian.
Oh yeah.
absolutely.
We talked about this was a full quote Taylor gave me at one point. And he says, TV shows don't need story, and then we got into it big time.
Whoa.
I don't know if I said
That was
exactly
trigger
that.
You did.
Show
say
me that. I
After
need
this
to
episode, I will.
I
Or
need
when
to
when
review
you're doing
this.
plugs, when you said that, I was like, wow, TV shows don't need story. And all right, ladies and gentlemen.
That's like a whole genre, right? Slice of life, isn't that kind of the point?
I feel like I would have said it in the context of that.
Mm.
People have gotten maybe get excited for something like this, where they're just assuming based on expectation that it's supposed to be all story, when that it could also have different. I don't know. In my mind, as I was saying that, I was probably thinking like these characters obviously have different adventures, and it doesn't always have to be from beginning to end like this one story. But there's adventures and like miscellaneous things that happen inside. And again, the context of that being this is the first time Star Wars is live action, and they're experimenting, trying to find, I think, their ground and their footing of how to make something like this work compared to, because you can't really throw this into like give it a Dexter storyline. It all depends on the character and how they're doing
Dexter storyline?
Yeah, Dexter storyline.
Yeah,
like this
I
is a
don't-
character where we don't get to see his face, and they have to.
I disagree
with
with
that.
that. You can't you're saying you couldn't take the Mandalorian and give him a whole single season arc. I really disagree.
No,
with
no, no.
that.
You
And
could, but it's not something that they. I wouldn't.
But
expect
I
them
don't
to
think the
nail it
reason
out
I'm
the
not
gate.
loving this show is because there isn't like a cohesive story from start to finish.
Yeah, I think those are the different reasons, because that's my reason. Of I like the action stuff, but I just I want more of the main story. I like these adventures, but then I wish that we didn't get Baby Yoda in the first episode. I'd be more.
Yeah,
My
and
expectations,
that's-
if we were just doing adventures, I'd be more fine with it. But
And
I
that's
just feel like
fair.
we're wasting time.
It's definitely down to perspective, and I mean, we even like agreed upon that. Like they probably shouldn't have if they didn't introduce Baby Yoda in the first episode. I feel like people would have been very much looking at this series differently so
Yeah.
far,
But
and
then
they
that
would
was
have.
the hook they wanted for day one Disney Plus.
It was
right?
the hook,
Like Baby Yoda, everyone needs to see it. So it's like I get it from a
Yeah.
business perspective.
I think it's a problem that they're not using any other characters for more than one episode.
Yeah, and that's why people go, oh, season 2.
Because
it's
they've
gonna
had
be
some really fun characters, but
Mhm.
none of them have had the chance to blossom in like a 20-minute episode.
Yeah.
Obviously,
yeah.
Like
I'd
you're
agree with
stuck
that.
with me now, partner.
Yeah.
And I do, yeah, that's what I do wonder. Like they greenlit the whole season, but I do, and people say, "Oh, it's a test and grab." But I do wonder if this was really like this is just almost like a demo reel. Sounds like
feels
it's
like 8
degrading
pilots.
it. But yeah, that's what it feels like to like. Could a Star
6
Wars TV
pilots.
show work? And like, okay, let's put this out here and show like what we could kind of do. And that's why I hope if that's the case, season 2 does pick up. But that's not. I'm not expecting it.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting to pick up. I'm expecting just the space pirate adventures.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think maybe they're just looking at like people just want to be in that world, right? Because
Yeah.
Star Wars is such a strong, like just has
Oh,
such strong
yeah,
world
that's-
building
that's
me.
between the
That's me
aliens,
for
right?
sure.
When you
I
have
turn the
when you have
lights
like
down.
a Twi'lek pop up, obviously the hardcore fans, you guys like that stuff, and I do too, right? And maybe that's what the idea is here. Let's do this show. Let's have it come out week to week so people can be in the Star Wars universe for 8 weeks. And oh, look, it also conveniently lines up with the new movie that's coming out. Really,
Yeah.
just get people in that mood. So
I just wish there was both. I wish that's why I'm such a big defender of JJ, because I think he always does like the fan service and the story at the same time well, and that's why I wish with this. And I also just think the pacing of the episodes to have 3 episodes back to back that have very little story and very little character. I think that was a problem. I liked when we looked like we were getting maybe an adventure episode, then full story adventure. That I could do, but 3 in a row has been the tough thing for me. And the same thing I was talking to Taylor too. If it was a longer season, I'd get it. But now we only have 2 episodes left, and if next week is another just an adventure episode, I'm gonna be really bummed, because that just means the pilot and the finale were the only like really main story one. I'll go maybe episode 3. I'll give it that because he escapes. But we only got 3 episodes out of the 8 episodes that are really story driven, and to me, and that's what if you don't find it disappointing, that's great. I've seen online. I think that's a big discussion. Some people love it. Some people are like myself. So I think it's different strokes for different folks, right? But I think they just got to be careful, Could have the perfect storm. If next week something happens, they got another Toro episode, and episode 9 doesn't go well, everyone's gonna be super fucking
When
down.
something happens next week, they got Rise of Skywalker just to kind of
No, but I was saying if Mandalorian also had like another Toro episode, and then episode 9 sucked, you're gonna have this really bad storm, and just like, you know what, fuck Star Wars again. It's gonna be like Last Jedi and Solo times 10. But I hashtag trust in JJ, my boy.
Hashtag trust in JJ.
Do we want to jump into spoilers now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Taylor, you say 3. We have 2, 1.
3, 2, 1.
Geek versus Assemble.
Boom.
Cheers.
I don't know where to start here.
I think I have a point to start on.
Take us.
So something that
Take us.
I mean, I brought this up last week. It kind of bothered me was that I mean, a lot of things bothered me last week. Let's be honest. But
Let's
one of
be
them,
honest.
one of them was that he kind of just left Avocado in the ship for like a whole episode, and nothing really happened. It didn't really matter. And that kind of happened again here, where there is like that robot that goes down there and like points a gun at him, but then like coincidentally the Mandalorian's right there when when he's about to. Well, did you think he was going to take the shot, the robot, or
I
was he
thought
going to
Yoda
like
was
take
just
him
gonna,
captive?
Like, force something, because we haven't seen him really use the Force since.
Yeah, I
what
thought
episode
Yoda
it?
was gonna
Episode
force
2?
him up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't.
At first, I thought it was him
because he
that
did
actually
put his
just
hand
explode.
up. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I did too.
And then
I-
of course the classic, he like looks at his hand. He's like,
Mhm.
"Can I
That's
do
very cute. I don't know if he was going to. I don't think we'll ever know. It's up to interpretation perspective. He just figured out what was going on with the Mandalorian and realized to apprehend this thing or
Mhm.
kill it or for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So,
Ultimately, it doesn't really matter because I mean the point is that he kind of just like shows up at the right time, which works out. But I feel like there just isn't really consequences to how poorly he's like planning ahead when it comes to Avocado and just leaving him around.
Parental.
And yes,
Well-
like obviously at one point Avocado like threw that monster off of him, so he's like capable somewhat to defend himself. But I don't know if you got like a group of like 3 mercenaries that came after Avocado, I don't think he could defend against that.
in this scenario, I feel like it's very different from like the previous episode in the sense that
I do
you
think
could,
it is
you could
different.
feel it
Yeah.
emanating the stress from him leaving Avocado alone in the scenario. Like he obviously was keeping him completely contained where no one else would see him.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, the door opened and they saw.
yeah.
But this is a good setup too. When the Twilight goes to instantly
But
just
then
pull
after
a
they
knife
saw,
up.
he still just like left with them.
Yeah, but they gave you even that scene of him being the last one to go, and he turns and looks back. Like, yeah, all I felt was just he doesn't feel comfortable leaving him
Yeah,
there.
but he
now
still does it, and
because
then there's not a consequence. to that.
he does it because he knows that there is a consequence of it, and it definitely could go wrong. But then again, this is the real life scenario where he doesn't have a lot of options and he needs money and he needs to make this call. And I like how they imply too when the Twilight earlier on goes in to stab him with the knife, he doesn't flinch whatsoever. But as soon as the guy drops Avocado, he flinches, he panics, and I think it goes to show again. It adds to that depth when he turns
but
to look
the
at
thing,
the door.
You said there that like the reason that he can justify it is because he needs some caps, he needs some money to continue the mission on. That's exactly what happens last episode, right? It's the same reason.
Yeah, but again, he didn't get paid, unfortunately, so he was.
No, I know,
kinda
but
screwed
it's
over.
still like it's
Unfortunately,
the same. It's just the same thing.
I think it is. I think it's same reskin. This one didn't bug me as much, I guess, just because he was close to the ship. That's why I still think he does leave the Avocado alone a
Yeah.
little too much. But for me, I was like, okay, he's in a situation. The ship is maybe 50 yards away, 50 feet away, not yards, 50 feet away. I felt like, and he has most of the dangerous people off the ship. So that's why, for me, this one, I could swallow this one a bit easier
Yeah.
last week, where he showed Toro where Baby Yoda was, and then also went out
Leaves him on like a mysterious,
miles.
sketchy planet.
Yeah, exactly. This one I bought a little bit too.
I
a little bit
definitely
more.
agree with that, but
Yeah.
I guess to me it's just kind of like an additive thing where it kind of just keeps happening.
I think that's the problem too.
So-
Again, this is my harp on it. I think when it happens back to back, when we just saw an episode of him leaving Baby Yoda, we get that again.
Yeah,
that's
and
where
the whole point of like Avocado almost getting sniped by that person in the forest when he was just going to leave him there on that planet.
yeah.
Like, what was really the point of that? Because him just kind of leaving Avocado around like doesn't matter in these episodes. And I feel like we're gonna get some in next episode or in episode 8 where he does leave Avocado when he goes to do something. Then you come back and he's been captured, and then it's just gonna happen then.
But that's
Instead of, like,
something
it's
that
just gonna be like arbitrary.
They've
almost.
established that too in that same episode when Baby O is going to get shot.
Yeah.
He makes a point of saying, what he has to go through and where he's going to be going is no place for a kid, and this is the result of that. He didn't want to bring obviously the avocado with
that's
him.
a good point. Yeah.
But there was another thing that you had said that I wanted to piggyback on.
I liked all the Baby Yoda stuff. I liked Zero a lot. Obviously he's in the original trilogy, like droids like that, but I love the look. I love the sound design when he was moving, the voice acting.
Is that the one that was gonna shoot him?
Yeah, with like the
Is
bug
that-
eyes. Yeah, I really liked the whole design in that character. I love droids in general in Star Wars, but that
Mhm.
was really well done. I honestly liked the majority of the people, even though Bill Burr took me out of it for a second. But I liked them all. Even Clancy Brown's the devil dude. He was just like the heavy. So for me, that was actually none of my problems. I actually liked their little fight scene too, of just like he shot him on fire. It's like, oh, this guy might be like the devil or something. So I don't know. It didn't work,
When he dropped the door down, I got a kick because I thought, okay, that's gonna get him. But he was lifting up and smiling. But when the second doors slammed down on him, it fucking made me jump. I thought he was fucking toast.
I don't know if I buy him surviving that, but I'll.
No, his
I'll
horns
have-
were sliced off.
I
though.
know, but like that's a very small between that door and there. I think it could have took off his head there, but yeah, I personally end up liking all the supporting characters except the guy.
The other
Actually,
Twi'lek.
what?
The other Twi'lek.
That took me off guard. I will say, but no, it was actually
Got his beater on. He's like,
it was the
Fucking gangbanger.
yeah, shirtless and everything. Yeah, it was the guy who was like running the main mission with the long hair.
Oh.
Just because I've watched Sons of Anarchy
Yeah.
and his character is just kind of very similar, so I thought that was a little stunt casting that I didn't enjoy. It's fine. He's in the episode for 2 minutes, but I was like, I don't feel like it's Star Wars. That's always the risk you run when you start casting people that are in a lot of stuff. Like we talked about this before. Adam Driver was in some stuff, but Driver, Ridley, Boyega, Oscar Isaac, those are all very fresh faces, you know. So
Yeah.
I do think that's the route I prefer them going Star Wars. So
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask a irrelevant question. What are the name of the droids that were on the ship? Like the guard.
I don't know. Those we never. At least
not
to
seen
me,
those
I'd never
before?
seen them before. They're
Yeah,
New
no.
Republic droids,
Interesting.
so
Yeah.
they were pretty cool.
I was just curious if they had a cool name.
The guy that you had pointed out who was running the mission with the long hair, he's from Batman Begins, right?
Yeah,
He's the same
yeah.
actor.
Swear to me.
Yeah.
He's running
Yeah.
the drugs. He's the crooked cop. Yeah. That was my
Um,
best Batman voice because I was unprepared. I'll take it back at the end of the episode.
Yeah, you gotta have liquefied your throat in
Mhm.
order to do that.
I want to. Are you going somewhere, or I want to bring up something?
Yeah, where are you going?
Go for it. You go for it.
This is something just completely out of the blue, just for maybe comedy's sake. So, Twilight kind of insinuates that her and the Mando maybe was doing some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
One,
Yeah,
does that mean? Do you think he took his helmet off when all that stuff was going on?
kind of sounds like that.
I feel like she wore his helmet at one point.
Because if
Ew.
not, I'm just picturing this naked guy and just like the Mando helmet. Like, no, I won't take it off. But
Well, how do you do it?
that's
Isn't that how everyone
that's an
does it?
after 9 topic.
I always
but,
keep my socks on.
I liked their interactions. I like because Twi'leks have been very sexual characters. I liked.
Have they?
Well, they're
Oh,
usually
yeah, they're
strippers
like
and
the
dancers.
yeah, they're
I
the
guess
sluts
so.
of the galaxy.
yeah, which is great. Hey, I'm all for it. So.
I couldn't get the image out of my head that the thing they're wearing just looks like a pair of short shorts on their head.
Oh yeah, it does. And even their things even look like little buttocks. But
yeah,
I
I've never
like the
noticed it
dudes
before.
more
I
or less.
could not. Yeah, I could not unsee it.
I liked all the minor backstory we got with Mando there, as far as okay, maybe he does get romantically involved with things, and they also hinted a few times, but she was the main progressor of she said that there was that mission they went on and he killed a bunch of people, but he enjoyed it, and he says some line to like, oh, that was the past. So clearly
Yeah.
it shows that's what we were talking about non-spoilers, that he
Yeah.
was doing this. I don't know, would he have been a Mandalorian and still went with these people?
Yeah, because they were calling him Mandalorian when he popped back in there, so it implies
I
the
just
last
think it's kind of
time-
weird. That means he left the Concord at one point, right?
No,
To, like,
he probably still was a Mandalorian and was a part of it, but was just doing very dark things to obviously get money for the
Picked up
foundlings.
a side quest.
was he doing it for the Foundlings at that point? That's why I'm wondering if he's so devoted now.
Yeah,
if he was
that's-
selfish when he was younger.
That's where it's hard to tell for sure, and I don't have an answer for that. But that's segueing into what you were saying actually, when it goes to show his development again as a character, because they build up how he enjoyed doing those things and how she figured out like she felt like she knew him and what he was like and everything, but how he's changed. And then when Baby or Avocado popped up, I liked how it caught them off guard, and even then they were whispering to each other or whatever about it, but it caught them off guard. And then when that rebel pilot who popped up, who was actually the voice of Anakin Skywalker from the Clone Wars, which is cool. But when he popped up, you could really tell, that history about the Mandalorian being dark and enjoying what he did. He wanted to do everything that he could at this point to keep this guy alive, even pointing the gun at the person he's supposed to be working with as a teammate here.
Yeah,
which
he's
I
like
really
reformed.
liked.
He's like not a priest because he's still killing people. That's what it feels like. Like he did a lot of stuff, and now he's trying to do good. Because he didn't kill any of those crew members, right? He locked them all up. They try and insinuate that he killed them all, but he didn't. He spared them their lives.
Yeah,
so.
and I feel like that was a good amount of development and progression for the Mandalorian in this episode. He wasn't just showing up trying to find sanctuary in a village like the other episode and just helping them in exchange for sanctuary. And this time around, he was genuinely concerned about not killing anyone and trying to keep people alive, even the people that betrayed him, which I think speaks volumes because he had clear opportunities to just flat out kill them. And I love that development as his character is growing, because it goes to show how him being in this scenario with Avocado is changing him further and further as we progress. I really like that scene with them in the Rebel pilot, and
Yeah, I did too.
It was just
yeah.
suspenseful.
I'll give you credit. You said in the non-spoilers there's a lot of tense moments, and I think they did that well. When they're talking on the ship, when he is like pretty much Jason Voorhees at the end. When I love there's the light scare when it's going like
Yeah.
that, and he's
Epilepsy.
popping up like, oh yikes. I liked all those kind of standoffs and Western stuff, and I think they did a good job there. And just like I said, the hallways were a little. There was definitely just
Yeah.
one set they had, but
when
I liked their use of it.
When he flanked like the droids, like they're all on the one side, and then he just popped up the other
Yeah,
side.
it
I'm
was
like,
like,
oh,
how did
Toro
he get
taught
there?
him that
Yeah.
technique.
Yeah, he should have said the same line whenever
Teleport.
he did. But I did think they did well on the tense moments in this episode, so that's why I prefer it to the last one clearly, and then episode 4. Because episode 4, I never felt the dire straits with the ATST just because it just didn't hit with me as hard as other people. But this, for some reason, I liked the score. The only thing I didn't like in the score was there was a few kind of hip hop vibes going on.
I was gonna say
I was not a fan of that,
Oh, I
but
loved it.
I like what the fuck. I've been trying to think, and I didn't Google search it. What the hell is like? I'm holding it up on my shoulder, and it's like this
Violin?
wires. Yeah, I think a violin, but they use that a few times in this episode too. There's one moment where when he sees a Twi'lek, and when she's like hunting him, it's really well done. So the score for me worked 90%, but the hip hop was a
That's
little.
hilarious. I loved it. I'm like, oh, it's like a remix of the Mandalorian.
It was.
theme.
It was just weird to hear in Star Wars, but yeah,
Like
it's
a
I,
boom
I like
clap
the
in there.
little music piece at the very end when they're in the ship, just him and Avocado
Mhm.
again. Simple, but it was nice.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
Ludwig doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Kirklin, you have anything specific to the show? Because you've been a little quiet. over
Yeah,
there.
I'll just hop on the side characters. I really liked basically all of them. Like I said in the non-spoilers, the Twi'lek. I don't know. I just kind of got annoyed with her a little bit. She just
I feel like she was kind of supposed to be that.
oh
though.
for
Yeah,
sure. And I mean, it's not gonna work for everyone. Clearly, it
Yeah.
didn't work for me. So, and then her brother. Yeah, I just thought he reminded me of like an orc from like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like or like one of the Orcai.
Yeah, yeah.
Just-
Meets back on.
I don't know.
the
His forehead
boys.
seemed a lot bigger than hers.
It
Maybe
was
that's
a
just like a
sizable
male
forehead.
Twi'lek
Yeah.
thing.
It's a male Twilight.
Okay,
thing,
yeah. He just and then his wife. I don't know. It's just something about them. It kind of
He felt very cartoony.
yeah. Yeah. The demon. What's his race? I was kind of curious.
I can't
But
remember.
anyway,
He's
no.
the same race that you see in like A New Hope, but I don't remember.
Yeah,
what
he
they're
had
Yeah.
one
called.
appearance in A New Hope in the cantina.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very simple character. Just like you said, a heavy.
Heavy.
I
Yeah,
thought
they
it
had
was
the
a
heavy,
little-
the assassin, and like
Yeah.
the,
Oh,
I don't know,
totally.
The
generic
sex
dude.
pot too. Yeah.
I thought it was a little cheesy when he was like just popping off on like the little mouse thing that we were talking about, like the Roombas. I don't know what the hell they're called.
They're
Those
called
droids.
Roombas.
The Roombas, yeah.
Yeah.
That's Roomba 2.0.
Roomba 2.0.
What else? Oh yeah, Bill Burr's character again.
Bilba.
Totally forget his actual name. It's like Manfred or something.
Yeah.
Manfred.
Yeah,
or-
Manny.
Man meat. No, I like
Man
his
meat.
little his little gun.
I was gonna
turret.
say his
Yeah.
his,
His
his
Audrey
third
gun.
hand,
His Predator gun.
his predator gun. Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought that was cool,
Mhm.
and I don't know, I just like the way it looked. He very much just seemed like a classic bounty hunter type dude. That's
Mhm.
not a Mandalorian. I didn't really like see like the efficiency of his like two holsters. He had like two blasters like up by his shoulders. I thought that would be kind of weird to pull out, but
Well, is that possibly for if that arm loses
Maybe,
again
yeah.
and comes down?
Yeah,
and
that's
takes
probably
up?
it.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
I
That's
just
pretty
missed that.
swaggin'.
that is
Yeah.
pretty swaggin' actually.
But the
now
guy
that I think about
Twilight just took it. He just like
Oh, yeah.
yeah. He just betrayed his sister
Kind of
very
poor planning,
quickly.
it.
really.
Oh, very quickly,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He didn't give a
She
shit
was
about
she
his
was
sister.
very excited to see him, and he did not hesitate to leave her.
He was just excited to be out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He's got close to his friends in jail.
yeah.
But they're all alive, so I hope that they come in again. And
Yeah.
I hope all these characters come back and we get some more with them. At least we know the next time if Mando were to see them, we know they kind of owe him one. As far
Totally.
as not in life, just like they're gonna screw him over. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking though, like, isn't there no one on that ship that's alive now? Like, who's gonna take care of them? Who's gonna?
No, the ship is basically, as my perspective, it's on autopilot to its destination.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
it didn't have
It'll get
anyone.
there.
It'll get there. It didn't
So
have anyone
Leia's
piloting
gonna
it.
see him like, what happened?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I really like the like Mexican standoff that they had. It kind of reminded me of Reservoir Dogs in a sense, just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
everyone on
Yeah.
the same side, just like aiming at each other. I didn't understand how her blade just like one shot the pilot. I'm
It's
just gonna
like magic or something.
Yeah.
Not magic.
They
but
had some lights on them. For
Yeah,
sure.
whenever
Yeah.
she would like activate it, so maybe it like finds an organ and goes right to it.
yeah, okay.
I liked the
Some
weapon.
kyber crystals in there.
It was very inefficient against the Mandalorian, who is
Oh,
all
yeah.
armor.
It was.
And
She landed a good shot right.
One in
between
the
blades.
shoulder. Yeah, but then he diffused her very quickly. So
Yeah.
she's not the strong one of the team as far as fighting goes. I don't know what her job was.
She's
but
a sneak.
That's
She's
true.
a
Yeah,
stealth.
she
She
was
can
a
she probably's got a high hacking stat.
Yeah.
yeah, she get my information
Sneak
too
thief.
easily. But
Heyo.
when I saw her GIF, I liked at one point when they were talking about their maybe relations and whatnot, and she was like mocking him, and she was like, "This is the way," and like,
Yeah.
she was like, every time she was talking, her tongue would like come out and stuff. So she'd be like, "Oh, Amando," and I was like, "Okay, I like that." And then we got a Gungan shout out. I was a big fan of that. What's under that helmet? Are you a Gungan?
And he does the accent too.
Yeah. That, and we got a Last Jedi shout out too with Canto Bite. There's a Canto Bite shout out in this episode.
Canto Bite.
Everybody's favorites, Canto Bite, Jar Jar, we're all getting the shouts.
I'm a big Jar Jar guy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, overall, I was pretty happy with the side characters this time around, especially going from last episode. I don't know. I just
Can't
thought
get much worse than fucking Toro.
Yeah,
Frizzy.
A few people I was talking to at work, they actually really liked like that Frizzy character for some reason.
Sure
Really
they
did
did.
not like Toro. I feel like the common consensus on Toro
Everyone
is
hates Toro.
there's a
That
thumbs
poor
down on that
actor.
guy.
Stuck with me now. Bob.
Yeah.
The
but, like,
best gift in the Star Wars
I love
land.
that
in the
gif.
same sense,
Just
I feel
the way
like
he's like just leaning over, like
Oh,
getting
yeah.
up from bed. Or
I hope the Emperor's him in episode 9.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
you're gonna regret that.
That's
It's
bold
actually
prediction.
but yeah, I don't know. I thought like they weren't anything too special, but it was just a good like Suicide Squad a semblance that you kind of brought to light that
Mhm.
I didn't see for whatever reason. It's very much Suicide Squad when I'm thinking about it now. But yeah, I'm pretty happy that they lived just for the possibilities of a comeback.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Cool.
I don't have much
I
else
don't
to
have
say
any
on
other
the other
notes,
characters.
honestly. To me, this was a very simple episode.
Yeah, I think the only other notes I have were I actually thought the effects were really good in this one.
Yeah.
I didn't stand, especially because there was like some space stations going on,
Yeah.
so it was really good. And again, we kind of talked about this in episode 2 because this is the same director, Rick Famuyiwa, who did The Cave and what's the monster called that he fought? Do we have official name for that?
Mudhorn.
Yeah, the
The
Mudhorn.
Mudhorn.
How we kind of talked about like he shot from first person was very different. I thought you could see again, not to like crap on the guy, but like the difference of Dave Filoni directing episode to Rick Famuyiwa, who's directed like motion pictures and is a really talented guy.
Ooh,
I just thought-
motion pictures.
Well, I just thought like
Take that, Filoni.
even though
That's
the
moving
hallways were all the same set, I always thought like when the Twilight came in, he kind of had like a Dutch angle. Like he was always trying to do something different, and he had a good kind of horror aesthetic at times. Like I said, that
Big
light
time, yeah.
man, no thing. So I've really liked. I didn't love episode 2, but I still like it a lot. But I liked his directing style or just the vibe that, and this episode had that. So I think Deborah Chow with episode 3 is still my favorite. But so far the styles, I've really liked his style. So I'm excited because Deborah Chow does next week,
Nice.
and then the week after is Taika. So I'm excited to see what her second episode's like. But yeah, I'm a big. Rick's coming back next season, so I'm excited about that. So
Nice.
You just talked about like the different shots they used. When the Suicide Squad, when they kind of abandoned Mando, and then I guess he just takes over the ship somehow, and then like the lights turn red, and then the
Oh,
doors are
yeah.
just shutting, and like I
He's,
really like that
wrapping around
shot.
the
Yeah,
room.
it reminded me
and
of just like a
then
horror movie or
Yeah.
something. And I definitely got those vibes. And then like the earlier shot you said of just like the blinking lights, and then he would just get closer, and then he kind of disappeared.
I didn't
Just-
like when he got so close to Bill Burr. Bill Burr just turned around and yelled at him. He's like, ah, and it just cut. It was just like, at least have Mando just like
Yeah.
elbow him once. But it's just like, ah.
That's the Batman approach.
But-
Like,
but
here.
Batman,
Ah!
but Batman, yeah, takes a Mando. He went, ah, and Mando just kept standing there, and the scene cut away to
Yeah.
Baby Yoda fighting with Zero. So it was like something happened, but there was like all the boom mics in the shot. We can't use that. So
Yeah, that's funny. You just mentioned like the quick cuts. I noticed a few times. I think it was when Mando like had escaped and he was kind of like taking them out one by one,
Mhm.
and then there was just some awkward cuts. I
I
thought
agree.
that very much stood out. Like it would go to Zero and Baby Yoda or Avocado. I guess I should use his proper name, his birth
Yeah.
name. it like went to him kind of playing cat and mouse with Avocado, and then it just like quickly shot back, and I just thought it was kind of an awkward cut and didn't really
Yeah.
need to be there. I don't know. It stood out, so I thought I should
Mhm.
mention it.
Cool.
Overall, though, I thought the cinematography
You have a
was
keen
sweet.
eye for the editing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm on 2020.
Kirklin, the editor.
You know, Spy
passed it.
Kids too, when he has like that
Yo,
the
Spy
glasses
Kids
that
2?
just zoom in.
It's been a
That's me.
while, but I believe you.
It's a meme. I figured you might identify.
the other thing I was gonna to drop the joke for a second. There was the alien from Solo that Favreau played in this episode. He's the little monkey guy with the 4 arms.
Yeah.
He was in the jail cell. So
Yeah.
it's not Favreau's character, but it's a breed like that. We've never
Oh.
seen that other than Solo.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
we got that, and then obviously we have all the cameos at the end with the X-wing pilots. It was Dave Filoni, Rick Famuyiwa, and then Deborah Chow. All the people that have directed the episode so far were the X-wing fighters.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah. fun little cameos there. So
That's fun.
it was. I don't know how much I love the Mandalorian flying right by them and them not even investigating because
Yeah,
they
that seemed kind of strange to me.
yeah, that felt very like
But that beacon was basically once that goes online, they were meant to destroy because
I
it was
know.
set in place like
No.
on the.
But how come two ships don't go there and one takes off just to see? Because what happened if they went there, but like one of the main criminals has left on the ship and they're letting the person free? So I was fine if he
Why
would
didn't
have.
shoot the Mandalorian?
Well, or even just investigate. I was fine if he would invade them, but the fact that they literally like almost collide
Yeah,
and
like he
he's
could have gone the opposite direction. or
yeah,
something.
and he's leaving from a place that is a hot zone right now where you're about to go destroy it. I feel like you would want to at least investigate, even to pull him over. The guy goes, "Oh no, I'm I'm a good guy." Like whatever. If the man
Shoot
will find a
first,
way
ask
out.
questions later.
I think
Yeah.
it depends again on perspective because they obviously had a ship leaving that they just skimmed by, and then they had this station which had the beacon basically beaming off of, and then they had a gunship that was priming up to launch out of that station. So that screams like it was bad news, and that this ship was probably trying to leave the area and get away from this gunship because it just seems like that. Okay, that was the primary target and the thing to deal with. You have a gunship loading up, and this station is obviously something bad's going on. The beacon is emanating. This is probably where all the criminals are that they escaped and they got here.
Yeah.
Let's take it out right
But
now.
like Travis said, they have 3 ships.
Yeah, one could turn around. I just hope it gets followed up on next week, even if someone else is on his tail or gets a tip and like, oh, they saw the Razor's
Yeah.
crest or whatever go that way. It's like okay, that'd be. I just think it was too tongue in cheek of like, oh, they almost
Yeah.
got him, and then they just completely ignore.
I think
him
I'd have to
and-
side with you on that one.
they ignored it too because it's not a ship that was on the old Imperial Net or the New Republic files, right? So it's not something that they
But it-
probably paid mind
that's
to.
that's not my thing. It's just if the police show up to my house, let's say Dylan called and said someone's been murdered at my address, not going to give it here, and the police are pulling up and they saw you running the other way, they wouldn't just go, oh, whatever. That
Yeah, but
police
then
clearly a
think
good
that
guy.
ship has jumped to hyperspace as right after.
But that's just
happens.
that's in our world we have no hyperspace, so that's just say that's you jumping into a car and driving away. Then I would expect them who also have hyperdrive.
Oh,
But then they
don't
don't-
that one.
I just threw 3 words all together: hyperdrive, space, and
Guys, speaking
force.
Twi'lek over
But
here.
yeah, good. Get in the
Quite like
sheets.
you.
Yeah. But I would feel that same thing. One would turn around just to investigate or even to call back. That's why I hope it gets followed. Like, hey, we can't go get this ship, but we just saw this ship leave. We don't have it on record. Can someone at least try to track it or something like that? Like I said,
Or even if they like had a comment to explain one of those things you're saying.
yeah. Or just even if they found a clever way in the episode that he could have somehow made it seem that he was an innocent ship or said something to them. I just don't buy that they would
they
leave.
set that up though with how the whole time why they wanted to use his ship specifically because the Empire and Republic.
No, I know, but
didn't
that's the
pick up
problem.
on
The
it,
thing is,
right?
no matter what is, they still leave him seeing the situation. That's why I wish he went a different direction. They literally almost collide. So no matter what, it doesn't matter if the ship is on fire or not. They've seen the ship. These 3 people have seen the ship leave this area with tons of criminals and like bounty hunters. So that's my thing. If like it doesn't make sense, it just feels again too convenient. Which sucks because I thought for the most episode, other than maybe Baby Yoda stuff, it didn't feel that way. It felt like the Mando was kicking ass, doing stuff. We've kind of talked about that before, how he's always been saved. This, again, was him being saved. But to me, this was a clever way. It wasn't just an outside force. He brought the beacon in, but that's where I still wish that... I don't know why they had to make him almost collide with the ships.
Yeah.
I just think there's an easy route. Just don't do that. He goes the other way. He has a cloaking device. It's just strange. Or even if he drives by them and they see them off in the distance, but just to come so close is just...
I wonder who that guy
It's
is.
the same.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
the
well.
same reason why if you're taking off of Naboo, you have to fly directly through the blockade in one direction when you could fly up, down, left, right, any other point on the
That's
planet.
fair, yeah.
You know.
Maybe they looked in the rear view and he had a baby on board sticker, and they're like, "Oh, okay,
Right.
he's probably good."
He's
It's like a
good for
minivan,
sure,
a
yeah.
minivan of the spaceships.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I hope that comes back at some point. Even
Yeah.
if I'd like that's how next bounty hunter found him, that the rebellion would put out
Yeah.
that we saw the ship and someone's like, oh, I know what that ship is. So
No,
I hope it comes
definitely.
back. But judging by these episodes, they won't because they're pretty like
Yeah.
single to
I was
each
gonna
other.
say I hope they do something as like to the point that you mentioned, because it would also just be them like linking the episodes together. That
Yeah.
hasn't really happened much,
No.
right? So
Mhm.
I'm totally down for what you said.
Totally down.
Taylor, any notes? 'Cause
Totally
I've
down.
exhausted all my
He's exhausted.
letters. I am exhausted. I'm ready for the weekend. I'm ready to get a good sleep, get Mandalorian. Episode 9. Episode 9's going to be draining next week. See Adam Driver's Kylo Ren back on the big screen.
Kylo Ren.
I'm just killing
I'm
cut
excited.
time till you're done, Taylor. But Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
So
So
If you don't want spoilers, don't watch the new trailer.
I love seeing the New Republic kind of for the first time in this sense.
You love
know?
anything in the New Republic. We got that last week, The Ring, and you're like, it's the Ring of the New Republic. You
Oh,
love
yeah.
the New Republic.
Well, I do because I think it's a very interesting thing to see. What does this branch? I'm not super big into the politics of the prequels, but there's some things that I like. I like that kind of drama and how things got panned out with Palpatine, the Sheev. But it's I think
Coruscant.
there's
Yeah,
there's
Coruscant.
30 years worth of politics and government that's growing and forming over into the aftermath of the Empire, and I just think that's such a crazy transition where you have a government that was just forced to just succumb to the will of this other government rising up to replace it. I think that is just a lot of change, and I love that at the beginning of the series we got to see a cell of Imperials kind of still operating, and I'm very excited to see maybe more if we get to down the road. Who knows? But just the little brief bit of the New Republic that we got to see was awesome. I wish there was more in Force Awakens, but they just got fucking annihilated. So, yeah. I just
JJ's like, yeah, I don't care about that. Blow 'em
yeah.
up.
No, I think that was very cool. I love those droids. They were super awesome. And yeah, just when the Rebel pilots popped out of hyperspace in their X-wings, that was very cool. What else do I got?
What else you got?
I did for a
Riveting.
brief second message Travis last night.
Oh.
Right, was that Ryan Johnson in the
It
X-wing
was
pilot
not
seat?
Ryan Johnson.
This was very late at night, and but yeah, it was not.
No, it was Dave Filoni, the phony Filoni.
The phony Filoni.
But yeah, other than that, I'm very happy to see the male Twi'lek. I think that was a very cool addition because we've never seen a male one before, just females in the movies. And the males, I've just seen them in basically the Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
So it was very cool because they are very much that like tank top kind of like character. They're very much that kind of like from the hood, I think, kind of vibe, like just Jack kind of from the hood.
They all play like Spaceball.
Yeah.
He's a real fuckboy, that's for sure.
They have very strong minds, and I think they're very
They
opinionated.
got big heads, so it makes
They
sense.
have big
Stro-
heads,
you-
yeah.
By strong mind, you mean like physically their brain is like strong, it has muscles on it?
Or like
Large
Rhino, like
domes.
Rhino, they could run
Large
and like
domes.
headbutt through
Yeah.
doors.
Yeah, do they have brain matter in the like in the little tail thing?
I don't know
I don't
really
know, let's
what's
lick
in
it and
there.
find
I
out.
think
know
I think
what's
some
in
people probably assume like it's sexually.
Has to be.
Really? You
Oh
think it's a
yeah.
sexual thing?
I don't
They're
think
stroking
so.
that stuff. They're going wild. They're just like quivering like a snake.
So
I'm
you
not.
think- okay.
I'm not the kind of guy that would
Tie it
like to
up
kind
real
of stroke
tight.
something like that on my significant other. I need a full lock of hair to just rub my hand through.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
not
do,
two
don't
fleshy pieces of
You
skin.
don't knock it till you
Yeah.
try it. You know.
But it was very cool to see him because it just goes to show more expansion to the universe, and I like how his character just threw his sister under the bus, especially when the Mando, which again had me very on edge when he was locked in that jail cell and he improvised and adapted and
Yeah, and
overcome
he could unlock it from the inside. That was pretty convenient.
Yeah.
with the droid
I
arm.
agree.
But most
From
people
the inside.
Most people inside though are not going to have a grappling hook to grab
Why
a
is there?
security
Why,
Some
droid.
will.
Why,
Some will.
why is there a key on the inside though?
Yeah.
Probably for emergencies,
For the
in case a droid
For
gets stuck
cases
in
like
there.
this.
yeah, exactly.
But
Well,
it was
convenient.
very cool to see him adapt, get out of that situation, just put the whole thing on lockdown. When he shot his grappling hook and was trying to pull the guy up and choke the Hellboy,
Didn't work out.
I was thinking this is really not going to pan out. And when he just fucking pulls him down and is just smashing his head across the whole
Yeah.
the dash and everything, just totally kicking the shit out of him. It was hilarious. And again, yeah, that flamethrower scene when he's just smiling as he comes through
Yeah.
through the fire and the flames. It's just
Flames.
very, very intense.
Cast it into the fire.
But yeah, overall, this episode was just fantastic.
Just fantastic.
Groovy.
Fantastic.
I will
Cool.
give this an episode. So if I was giving out my wants and what I was expecting, oh my god,
Expectating.
what I was expecting and everything like that, this was probably gonna be like the solid 50% because I did watch it and I was like, man, no more like big story again. So I was really disappointed. On a second watch, I did enjoy it more, just knowing okay what I was getting into. And now I've kind of again, this is like the third time I've switched my expectations on what the show is. So I'm hoping it kind of Well, actually, I hope that it just one day gets to the full on. Oh, every episode is great and story filled. But I will give this 3.7 because I think as an episode alone, the way it's made,
3.7.
I really like. Yeah, because I like it better than episode 4. Obviously, last week was the worst, and then episode 3 has not been top. Just because to me that was the best. Of like you had some action, you had fan service, but then you also had big story moments. So yeah, 3.7. If we get more filler episodes, I hope they're like this because I liked the quality and some of the things that was going on, cinematography. I hope it's not like the last one especially. So 3.7. Really, really, really hoping next week we get some good on story. That's the other thing I was gonna say. Are we not gonna find out who the person whose boots those were until next year? Because if
No,
not,
they wouldn't. You wouldn't leave like a 5 to 10 second Easter egg for another season. It's just.
would you?
Sounds like it.
I don't think you would. I think the reveal of Baby Yoda or Avocado in the beginning of or end of the first episode, that would be a good hook to end a season on as like an ending. But
To
cliffhanger.
re-reveal Yoda?
No, if they took the ending of the first episode, that would be a good climactic hook or whatever for a finale. But in this case, there was only 10 seconds of a character's feet and then a little bit of a cape.
And
There wasn't
Spurs.
enough.
And some Spurs.
And
some
Spurs.
Spurs.
Don't forget the Spurs.
There wasn't enough of a build-up to warrant them saving that for another season because no one's going
Unless
to
it
remember.
is
No one's
Boba
going to
Fett.
forget.
That's that. If they save it for next season, it literally has
If
to
they
be Boba
save it
Fett.
for if it is Boba Fett and they save it for next season, then we have to get a flashback or more of a nod, and not just to mention like, oh yeah, I was there when that chick got blasted by Toro. You
Ooh.
know,
No,
because
wow.
Toro's great.
they
Go to X videos near you.
Blasted.
they'd have to properly set it up and establish it because it was just so brief, and at the very end of the episode, it was more like a cliffhanger implying like, okay, maybe the next episode we'll get something.
I hope.
And
yeah.
so we didn't in this, obviously, episode 6. So I'm assuming next episode we'll see something.
That's why I'm wondering if the last scene of the last episode of the season would be revealing Boba Fett fully, so people will get really excited, like, oh,
That
season
would
2,
be a
Boba
big
Fett's coming.
cliffhanger.
Sell some
Yeah.
Black Series
Because
toys.
yeah, I pitched
yeah.
I pitched that to you a long time ago. Of like not long, but like when the season started. Of just I think Boba Fett will appear and could be a villain in this show to like hunt down Mando. So
You pitched that when we started this
there's
review?
chat proof. No, not this review.
There's
a
chat
few
proof.
episodes ago, before the Spurs happened.
3,000 messages
I
ago.
said I think there could be a chance Boba's a villain down the line. So hopefully that's revealed. But if not, who knows?
Fair enough. I will give this episode 8 Twi'leks in prison cells out of 25.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I am excited to rate this series when it's over.
Well, we only got 2 more episodes left, so we're almost there. We're in the home stretch. So if you like what we did
Oh my
here,
god.
This
What?
fucking guy.
Savage.
Just fucking ruthless.
Just fucking brutal.
all right,
You didn't,
yeah.
let, you didn't let Toro go.
It's like
Sorry,
we're in
it's
this
been a long
together,
day.
partner.
Oh,
This episode was just, as I
Fucking
said,
love Toro.
it's the Rogue One of the Star Wars movies.
Oh,
for me.
no.
no!
I really enjoyed it. I love the setup.
It's just
I feel
fan
like
service. That's why moments. And
so much
moments.
fan
There was
service.
an X-Wing. I saw it.
Yeah, yeah.
I just really enjoyed and appreciated seeing the Mandalorian in an environment working with, a crew and just doing a job. It felt like
You do love Suicide Squad, so.
I do like Suicide Squad. Yeah, this definitely had so many things that I love that it had going for it, and I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 5.
Travis is looking for the chat proof.
Okay, so you didn't exactly say it, but I was talking about a TV show and what it should be, and then you said, yeah, but people expecting story, I feel, is letting themselves down and be disappointed. I feel
Whoa.
like that's pretty much what I said of like, oh, a TV show should have story, and you saying, well, them expecting a TV show to have story would be them letting themselves down. I feel like
Continual story, like every episode is that because I feel like
as any story.
this show it's done just that. It's introduced these, I don't want to say all filler episodes. It's just introduced these side quests, majority, yeah,
of filler episodes.
and it's just them leading up towards something. And I think for the most part, trying to get their grounding and their footing in this world and how they're going to do things. You said season 2 is obviously filming right now, so it'll be interesting to see if they make any changes or divert how they're going to end it.
Well, that's
based
the
on
thing.
what they
I don't
hear.
know how they obviously it would be by viewers, but there's not much like ratings, so I feel like they will just kind of green light a lot of stuff. Like I guess if Mandalorian season 2 came out and it just like really dipped down in viewership, but I think look at all the shows they've already announced at Disney Plus. They're not really caring about trying to get people to watch it. They are but they're not like, oh, this has to do ratings. Like, they started filming Mando season 2 before anyone had watched Mando season 1. So what happened if no one watched Mando season 1, right? So that's where I do hope they get to course correct a little bit for some people that may have some issues. But yeah, today where can they find us?
They can find us, ladies and gentlemen, with your internet connection in the search bar, Geek for Space Podcast. It's a lot of great stuff. Check us out on Facebook.
Yeah, like I said, we got tons of stuff in the past, tons of stuff coming up. Along with Rise of Skywalker, we're going to do a couple best of casts. The first week of January, we're going to be doing our 2019 preview or 2020 preview for movies and video games. Those are always fun, long casts that get wild. And then the week after that is the 2019 Golden Geeks. We're going to be doing a Golden Geeks of some form for the decade, but 2019 we still got to do as well. We're going to do all that stuff. So even after Rise of Skywalker, we got a lot of good content coming out. So January might be a bit slower as far as movie and games and TV shows, but we're gonna fill your ear holes whether you like it or not.
Fill the
yeah.
ear hole.
Yeah. When no one else is talking about anything, when they're just, I don't know, talking about the adventures of Toro, the book, we'll be talking about some good
The
stuff.
book.
So thank you very much
Not a
for
book I'm
tuning
reading.
in. We'll be back next week for Mandalorian and Rise of Skywalker. It will not be boring, I promise. May the Force be with you.
Ayo.
Always.